Hello everyone. Now we are discussing the various causes of AUB. We have already myoma in various series. Now I am starting with polyps, right? In this lecture we will be talking about the types of polyp, how they are made, why they are made and how they look. So what do we mean by polyp? Polyp is a clinical entity referring to a tumor attached by a pedicle. Literal meaning means something which looks like this, which has a small pedicle and there is some tumor there. Mostly it is benign. It is called as pedunculated polyp, means there is a peduncle, or a sessile one. That means there is no peduncle and the growth is directly coming out from the epithelium. Now what are the different types of polyp which we will be studying? Benign. Mostly polyps are benign, but sometimes they can be malignant also. So what type of benign polyp we are talking about? Endometrial, endocervical, fibroidal, placental. As the name suggests, this is the uterus. Anything which is arising from the endometrium, endometrial, cervical, any submucous fibroid which we discussed in our leiomyoma series, any submucous fibroid which wants to come out becomes a polyp, and any retained bits of placenta can also lead to placental polyp. These are benign polyps. Now malignant polyp. Malignant means there is a de novo malignant polyp. That means there was some malignancy originally which took the form of a polyp, but there are secondary changes also, like there earlier it was a benign polyp, but with time, with irritation or some other changes, it now becomes malignant. The most common type of benign uterine polyp is the endometrial one. In our clinical practice, the most common polyp which we encounter is arising from the endometrium. It may arise from the body of the uterus or from the cervix itself. Why there is a polyp? Mostly if it can be idiopathic also, but there are some risk factors, like you are giving hormonal replacement therapy. Hyperestrenum, as we were talking, estrogen, when there is high estrogen environment, anything proliferates. So the endometrium proliferates and it forms a polyp. Tamoxifen therapy, diabetes, hypertension, obesity and increased patient age. If we look closely, then all of these risk factors are creating an atmosphere, an environment of hyperestrogenism. Hormone replacement therapy, obviously, tamoxifen itself is anti-estrogenic, diabetes, hypertension, all of them lead to endometrial hyperplasia because of increased estrogen. In obesity, you will find increased peripheral conversion into estrogen. So what is the pathogenesis of an endometrial polyp? A part of the thick endometrium projects into the cavity and ultimately attains a pedicle, like this. What the naked eye appearance will show? The naked eye appearance will show that a small polyp is around 1 to 2 centimeter in size. It looks reddish, absolutely red in color, and feels very soft because it is lacking any fibromuscular tissue inside. It is just the epithelium and the increased stroma and the glands. Microscopically, what is there? The core, this portion of the polyp. Right now we are not talking about the uterus. If we talk the core of the polyp contains stromal cells, glands and large thick-walled vascular channels. Basically, it is the part of the proliferative endometrium which becomes more and more proliferative and that takes the form of a polyp. The surface is lined by epithelium and rarely smooth muscles also invade the polyp and then it becomes adenomyomatous polyp. So, rarely we also find adenomyomatous polyp where there is a smooth muscle inside. Size more than 10 mm, postmenopausal status, abnormal uterine bleeding. These three things will tell you whether the polyp is undergoing any sort of malignant change. What does that mean? That you have a patient where there was a small polyp and you were not doing anything for the treatment, you were just waiting and watching. Then what happens? Suddenly the polyp increases in size drastically and the size crosses 10 millimeter. Then you think there could be a malignant change. or the patient is postmenopausal, because in postmenopausal status we know that there is no estrogen, but still in postmenopausal status if the patient has developed polyp, there could be something. So any polyp in postmenopausal status has to be biopsied, has to be checked out. Abnormal uterine bleeding. Earlier there was no abnormal uterine bleeding, that's why we were waiting and watching, but now the changes of bleeding has developed. The polyp mainly arises from the endocervix and rarely from the ectocervix. Mostly it arises from the endocervical glands, but sometimes it may arise from the ectocervix also. The stimulus of epithelial overgrowth is probably due to hyperestrogenism, or because we are talking about cervix, it is exposed to the vagina. So chronic irritation by infection or localized vascular congestion. Chronic cervicitis may lead to ectocervical polyps, and in cases of endocervical polyps, hyperestrogenism is the main cause. What is the naked eye appearance here also? Small size, 1 to 2 centimeter, single and brilliantly red in color. If you see on a per speculum examination, this is your speculum, this is your cervix, a very fleshy red mass you can see protruding out from the external os. Microscopically, the stroma consists of fibrous connective tissues with numerous small blood vessels and occasional cervical glands. So mainly it is red because there is only epithelium and it is highly vascular. High vascular channel leads to the brilliant red color. Now this is a sonographic appearance. I talked about it in my fibroid lecture also, that how to differentiate. Mostly it is a saline infusion sonography where we have a medium inside. This is the uterus. This white hyperechoic area is totally the uterus. This is the myometrium, and this lining is the endometrium, you see, and this black color is endometrial cavity. So something is protruding inside the endometrial cavity and it is coming from the endometrium. So it is endometrial polyp, and if you on the color Doppler studies, then you will find a feeder vessel also. See, this is a cut section of a uterus. You can see that from the endometrium so many numerous endometrial polyps are arising. Fibroidal polyp may arise from the body of the uterus or from the cervix. What is a fibroidal polyp? It is nothing but it is a submucous fibroid which arises probably from here or here, and it tries to get out from the cervical canal. So fibroidal polyp is almost always due to extrusion of a submucous fibroid into the uterine cavity. During this process of extrusion, it attains a pedicle which is often broad and usually attached to the posterior wall. Because it was a fibroid and the uterus is trying to push it out, it attains a pedicle. The naked eye, the polyp is usually single of varying sizes. There may be evidence of necrosis. We have studied this all in our fibroid lecture, that this is the rarest form of the fibroid, but it will cause the maximum symptoms because of its location. It may undergo necrosis, it may undergo infection, hemorrhage, especially at the tip, because once it tries to come out, the tip is under extreme pressure, and all the changes, necrosis, infection, bleeding, whatever, it happens from the tip. See this picture, how beautifully it shows. Cut section. There is a fibroidal polyp, the base is attached to the posterior wall. We have cut open the interior wall and you can see a big fibroidal polyp, and just notice the tip. It is hemorrhaged, it is necrosed, right? Microscopically, the polyp including the pedicle is covered by endometrium. The core of the polyp is composed of fibromuscular structures. Placental polyp. What is a placental polyp? It is nothing but a retained product of conception. Sometime post delivery or post abortion, there was some difficult delivery of placenta, or there was some accentuate lobe or something, and the lobe is still inside the uterus. So after some time, that thing wants to come out of the uterus and it forms a polyp. A retained bit of placental tissue, when adherent to the uterine wall, gets organized with surrounding blood clots and it looks like a polyp and it tries to come out of the uterus. So with this, I finish off this short lecture about the pathogenesis and types of the polyp, and in the next lecture we will be covering the management part. Thank you so much.